I'm not James White. That's someone else.
Right. You've been on TV, haven't you?
I've been all over. Yeah, I'm on Fander Films.
Yeah. I've listened to you
Yeah.
a number of times. I'll just keep it off camera for now.
Keep it on. That's fine. I don't mind being filmed.
I've listened to you a number of times. Now, earlier on, it seemed to me, if I can put it like this, that there was a tremendous amount of falsity going on from the other side. And he wasn't speaking with authority.
And you knew that. You saw that.
Well, I felt it.
Okay.
I felt that you were speaking with authority. He wasn't. And I made it.
Why do you think that's the case?
First of all, I made a comment to somebody on the left, if I could speak to you. And someone said to me, why is he speaking with authority and he's not? And I said, excuse me, he's not speaking with authority. This gentleman is.
Okay, now let me ask you,
the reason
has he done a study in this?
I've no idea, but it just seemed to me.
Let me tell you right now,
he wasn't answering no
he
questions.
is actually one of the best you're going to get. For Muslims, the best place to go to is Islamic awareness. He is one of the writers for Islamic awareness. He is the one that actually puts up much of the material on the manuscript evidence. He is the authority today on the Islamic manuscripts. That's why we allowed him to get on the ladder with us. Because he is the best you're going to get on these manuscripts.
To me, it wasn't speaking.
Did you notice that he did not? He waffled on everything.
Absolutely. All the
Now,
time.
what is it you noticed? Tell me here. What did you notice?
What I noticed was that his eyes and his body language was not connected with you. It was down, it wasn't properly connected, and he was avoiding the answers to questions.
What were the questions I asked him? Do you remember the questions I asked him? First of all, I asked, have you done this work yourself? How many corrections? He says, I have done this work myself. I said, how many corrections have you done? He didn't give us any answer to that. How many times did I have to ask him, how many corrections have you done? He finally says, look at this one here, Topkapi. Now, why did he go to the Topkapi? The Topkapi is the one manuscript that the Muslims are trying to defend. They're now throwing out all the other manuscripts. They only want to defend the Topkapi. Why? Because that has 98% of the Quran. It's the only one that's the most complete. They used to say there was 100,000 manuscripts. Then they came down to 10,000 manuscripts. They came down to 1,000 manuscripts. They finally came down to 6 manuscripts. That was in 2014. Today, as of last year, 2017, they're now only going to the Topkapi. That's why he went to the Topkapi. I showed Surah 66, Ayah 8 from the Topkapi with the name of Allah in the margin. It's not in there. What was his response? Look at other manuscripts that are earlier. I said, what other manuscript comes earlier? That is the Sana manuscript. So we let him say that. The Sana manuscript comes earlier. Look on the Sana manuscript. Surah 66 not even there. Can you then understand why that his whole premise is completely thrown out the window? If Surah 66 doesn't even exist in the Sana manuscript, then how can you look at something earlier? Proving that the Topkapi is possibly the first one to introduce Surah 66. It is written in 721, possibly as late as 770.
Let me ask this question.
Let me finish. This is for the camera, and it's also for this camera, because this is a DCCI camera, right? Yeah, great. I want them to hear this. For the DCCI crowd, and this is for yours, speaker man, if it doesn't begin, if it's as late as 721 to 770, then that's 8th century. If that's the best he can get, he can't find anything earlier, that means that there is nothing to compare it with.
So
more than
it's
that.
falsity then, it's falsity.
He knew that, and he didn't know how to answer that. Did you notice he didn't answer it? Now that is waffling. When you waffle, you don't have an answer for that. Here's the question we're asking. Muslims, why haven't you done this homework? Why haven't you looked at Sana manuscript? Why haven't you looked at the Topkapi?
You have done your own work, it sounds to me.
Say again?
You sound like you have done your own work.
I have a doctorate in this area. I have a PhD in this area. I've been working on this since 1994, these materials. Now, as far as the Sana, I'm not doing anything on the Sana. I'm not doing anything on the Topkapi. We have others who are doing that work for us. We have one man who's getting his doctorate on the Topkapi. Another man, Al-Fadi, who I work with, who's getting his doctorate on the Sana manuscript. He's becoming the world authority on it. Did you notice Al-Fadi is a Muslim name? He is an Arab. He speaks fluent Arabic. He is a native Arab. He comes from the Hijaz, where Muhammad came from. He speaks Quranic Arabic. He no longer is a Muslim. He has now become a Christian because of this material. He speaks fluent English. He and I get onto the internet. You'll see us on Fander Film. You were up together. He does, and is the first one that is able to go back to these manuscripts, read them in the original tongue, do the grammatical material on it, and that's why we're saying this is just the beginning of what we're finding. Next year when I come again, we're going to have an awful lot more examples. Not just 22. We have over 4,000 that we have found right now. We'll probably be 6 or maybe 8,000 within the next 2 years. But can you see why we're saying this?
Yes.
This has to go out to the world because Muslims dare not keep telling us that this book comes from God. It does not come from God. They cannot tell us it comes from Muhammad. It doesn't even come from the 7th century. Muhammad died in 632. So if it doesn't come from Muhammad, who is Muhammad and what's his purpose?
I'll finish this now by saying this.
What? No, did you hear what I just said?
Oh, I did.
So what did I just say?
And that's why I want to respond, because
What did I just say?
I want to go to this one. No, I understand, I get it.
But I want the rest of you. Have you heard what I just said? If the Quran does not even come from the same century Muhammad lived, then what's the purpose of Muhammad?
Nothing.
And what our own world are we even honoring him for receiving the Quran? If they could not preserve a Quran from even the century that Muhammad lived, then why in the world are we giving so much importance to this book? Now remember,
It doesn't have any authority.
let me finish this.
It doesn't have no authority.
All the Salafi Muslims, all the most radical Muslims today, do what they're doing because of that book. They follow that book because they believe it's God's word. They follow that book because they believe it is eternal. They follow that book because they believe that this book is the same that has always existed for 1,400 years. What we're telling them, it is not God's word. It does not come from Muhammad. It doesn't even come from the 7th century. This is written by men.
It's got no authority.
Therefore, you have no authority. Can you then see why he had to leave?
And he did leave.
God bless you.
You get where I'm coming from. Take care. Take care.
Family.